Hello everyone! Well, the first day of Alec Baldwin criminal negligent homicide trial was today. And as I watched the prosecutor's opening statement, she went on and on and on, and it seemed pretty convincing. And I was like, wow. Let's face it, the armorer, Hannah Gutierrez-Reed, she was convicted. So she owns a lot of the negligence, the criminal negligence in this case. And after a trial, she was sentenced to 18 months and she's currently in state prison. The other person that was criminally negligent also was an assistant director by the name of David Halls, who apparently handed the .45 caliber firearm, and let's call it what it is. It's not a prop gun, it's a firearm. And the definition of a firearm in the New York State penal law, and I'm sure it's similar in all penal laws across this nation, is any loaded weapon that is capable of discharging a projectile. Was this gun capable of doing that? Yes. Was the barrel blocked, prohibiting or stopping a projectile from being discharged from this weapon? No, it was not. Therefore, that gun was not a prop gun. It was a fully operational firearm. After the prosecutor gave her opening statement, it was time for the defense. And the defense was pretty impressive. I thought that prior to the defense presenting their argument, I thought it was going to be somewhat easy for the prosecution to convict Alec Baldwin of the charge of criminally negligent homicide. After all, he pulled the trigger, didn't he? And that, according to the ballistics experts from the FBI, is fact, not fiction. And as many times as Alec Baldwin goes on his friends' news stations and talks about how innocent he is and how he never pulled the trigger, the science tells us that yes, in fact, he did pull the trigger. The other thing in recklessness, because to be convicted of criminally negligent homicide, you need to be reckless. So what is the level of recklessness? Did he have the requirement to check the firearm after it was declared on the set cold gun, meaning the gun is not loaded or it's loaded with blanks? Dummy cartridges is the term that they used. Did he also have the duty to check that firearm himself? Well, the defense attorney kept talking about Alec Baldwin is an actor. He's not required to do that. After all, making movies is fantasy world. It's not true. But here is where reality collides with fantasy. And the fantasy being a movie, and the fantasy purveyor being an actor. However, the laws don't differentiate between reality and fantasy. And anyone that has any training whatsoever in firearm safety knows cardinal rule number one. Cardinal rule number one: a firearm is always loaded. And as long as you treat that gun that way, you will never hurt anyone. You will never have an accidental discharge, an unintended person shot. So was due care taken in this case? It depends on your perspective. If you view it that Alec Baldwin was an actor on this set of Rust and he had no responsibility in regards to firearm safety, then you will vote not guilty if you were on this jury. I don't know what the jury, the case is not even close to being over. But one thing I want to make clear, and from my perspective, I have no doubt on this earth, this was an accident. An accident with horrific consequences. The cinematographer that lost her life, her name was Helena Hutchins. And there is no doubt that it was an accident. But therefore there's levels of accidents. Did the accident occur because of criminal negligence? And the word that we're looking for in regards to criminal negligence, of course, is reckless. So that's what this whole trial is going to be about. Was Alec Baldwin's conduct in this case, in the shooting of Helena Hutchins, was it reckless? Did he fail to take due care? And prior to this day today in court, the opening statements, the judge ruled yesterday that he could not be held accountable in regards to recklessness for being a producer on this film. So she threw that right out. So that was a big sigh of relief, I believe, for his defense team, but making it much more difficult for the prosecution to prove criminally negligent homicide and therefore recklessness in the accidental, I'll say it, accidental shooting of Helena Hutchins. So I'm Bill Cannon from Police Off the Cuff Real Crime Stories. That's my point of view of what happened today on this case, and it'll be interesting to see, once this case is presented to the jury, what will they decide? What will they determine? Will it be guilty or not guilty? Will it be reckless or not reckless? Anyway, we'll have to wait to see. Have a great night, everyone.